Hi, while you're watching this video, I'm actually on a vacation in a remote place where I'll have very little to no access to internet. So this video is scheduled, guys, please no weird stuff in the comments, please. I won't be around to monitor it, please. Okay. I'm also going to try to go through this video with minimal editing because I just don't have the time for it. So you're probably gonna hear me ramble for a bit. Let's see how it goes. So this is what we're talking today about. Beef Magazine, for some reason, keeps showing up in my recommended. I can guess why. I'm looking up statistics on cows once in a while when I have Twitter wars or something. Beef Magazine is the beef cattle industry's authoritative source for business management and production information with a focus on end product quality and marketing insights, so we can trust Beef Magazine. And this is the article that actually showed up in my suggested. 2023 begins with continuing drought. Herd liquidation could linger into 2023 if the drought conditions in 17 states doesn't improve. Herd liquidation is basically sending the entire herd to slaughter. The new year is beginning with more of the same. The US has been in significant drought since late 2020, with drought conditions continuing into 2023. The final drought monitor of 2022 showed that 74.05% of the US is abnormally dry or worse. The drought categories can be combined into Drought Severity and Coverage Index, DSCI, which can range from 0 to 500 and currently stands at 165. So, as 2023 begins, 17 states have DSCI greater than 150, mostly in the Central Plains and Western US. 6 states, including California, Kansas, Nebraska, Nevada, Oklahoma, and Utah, have a current DSCI over 300. That's a lot. With a maximum DSCI of 358 in Nebraska. These 6 states had 6.64 million head of beef cows at the beginning of 2022, accounting for 22% of total beef cow herd. No doubt these states have already been significant herd liquidation in 2022, but clearly will face more herd liquidation if conditions do not improve. Interesting. Drought in January is a concern for the coming year, but not a major problem now. There is plenty of time for conditions to improve going into the 2023 growing season. This is almost wishful thinking because beef is responsible for quite a lot of the drought. Let's look at it for a little bit. So this is from the water footprint of farmed animals and farm and animal products. And it's very comprehensive because actually what it does, it actually considers the grain that cattle eat and not just what water they drink. So it actually stacks up what the product is made of fully. So we can see here that bovine meat actually is the largest consumer of any kind of water. So let's first look up what is blue water. Blue water is found in lakes, rivers, and reservoirs. The green water is the water available in the soil for plants and soil for microorganisms and soil microorganisms. So this is the water, if I understand correctly, that they count from the food that is fed to cows. And gray water is basically the water that's been treated and is supplemented to cattle and such, and to irrigation altogether. So this is total per ton, but that's not the best way to look at food consumption, because if you count a pound of lentils with a pound of beef, that tells us very little. So let's look actually here at water footprint per unit of nutritional value. So calories, close of how we can count our food. So if we look at pulses, which is legumes and beans and such, so we have 1.19 liters per calorie. And in case of bovine meat, we have 10.19 per liters per calorie. Another way to look at it is through protein content. So again, pulses is 19 liters per gram of protein, and bovine meat is 112 per gram of protein. Beef is also a source of fat, so we can look at fat, but we're not looking at pulses for fat. We don't usually use lentils for fat. We can go to nuts, for instance. So nuts is like 47 liters per gram of fat, and beef is 153 per gram of fat. Oil crops, we can look at oil crops. That's our source of fat as well. So it's 11 liters per gram of fat, while beef is 153 liters per gram of fat. That's insane. I went a little deeper. I wanted to know how much does a cow drink. So daily water intake may vary from 3 as a baby to 30 gallons of water per day, depending on age. And we're gonna disregard the lactating cows for now, because we're talking about beef and not dairy, although there are pregnant and lactating cows in beef. But we're gonna disregard that for now. So the average, I'd say like 17 gallons of water per day. Then I went and took our 6 states that were mentioned to be in drought, and I checked out what is their human population. It came down to almost 56 million humans. So I wanted to see how much water do cows drink in those states. So 6.64 million. 6.64 million cows. We'll times that by average of 17 gallons per day. That's 112, almost 113 gallons of water per day. And since people drink on average 1 gallon per day, that's twice as much as what people drink. I wanted to look at this article as well. FDA releases a 2021 report on antimicrobial use in livestock. The U.S. Food and Drug Administration Center for Veterinary Medicine published the 2021 summary report on antimicrobials sold or distributed for use in food-producing animals. This year's report shows that domestic sales and distribution of medically important antimicrobial drugs approved for use in food-producing animals decreased by less than 1% between 2020 and 2021. Since the significant decrease in sales volume in 2017, annual sales of medically important antimicrobials have remained at reduced levels. So I pushed this link. Here it is. This is a pretty long summary, but this is what is important. So medically important means that it's antibiotics that are actually used for humans as well. So we are looking at total annual totals kilograms square, almost 6 million kilograms square of antibiotics used for animal egg production. I just want to make sure. Antimicrobial drugs approved for use in food producing animals. Domestic sales. Does that mean that's only in the US? Guys, that's only in the US. 6 million kilograms square. And it's important because FDA's objective is to slow the development of antimicrobial resistance and preserve the effectiveness of antimicrobials for fighting disease in animals and humans, fostering good antimicrobial stewardship practices by optimizing these products and limiting their use to only when necessary to treat, control, or prevent disease. I'd say they're failing. That's them failing. Yeah. Last one that I want to talk about is global uncertainties affect beef production. Oh, cutie. I'm sorry, guys. Inflation, input costs, weather, and disease around the world all affect global beef production. Global uncertainty continues to have an effect on US beef markets, as do domestic issues, including inflation, weather, and input costs, according to Brett Stewart, president of Global Agri-Trends. All of this affects beef prices as well. In 1983, beef prices were at an all-time low. Prices have continually moved upward, with 26% increase in 2020. High input costs and weather conditions have led to a decrease in the cow herd across the country. In 2022, 13.5% of the beef herd will have been slaughtered. Shit. The highest level since 1984. This is a decrease of 1.7 million head in the past 2 years. The increased demand for beef has also led to high heifer slaughter numbers, which hasn't helped cow herd numbers either. Overall, beef production will be 7% lower than 2020 and the lowest in 44 years. Every person in America will have 3 pounds less of beef to eat than last year. That's interesting thing to use in advocacy if any of you are interested to do that. Beef production is expected to see a decline over the coming years. Stewart expects a 4.5% decline in the first quarter of 2023, a 7.3% decline in the second quarter, a 9.2% decline in the third quarter, and an 8.2% decline in the fourth quarter. This production decrease will lead to an increase in prices. So they're going through it. They have weather conditions because we are going through a climate change. Some of it is due to beef production. If rains hit the US, the cow herd will regrow and prices will be high for beef cattle. But we just read about a drought. Okay. The continuing worldwide population increase should have a positive effect on global beef demand. Guys, we gotta make most of those people vegan. Stewart says countries need to be aware of cautions such as foreign animal disease, and it can affect the production dramatically. Indonesia is currently dealing with foot and mouth disease and lumpy skin disease. Oh God, what is that? If either of this would jump to Australia, exports will halt for them. They currently export 70% of their beef, and it would be devastating for their beef industry. Australia's key markets are Japan, Korea, the US, and China, and where I'm at for sure. A big amount of our beef comes from Australia. So, guys, my voice is going, so we're gonna end it here. I think it's pretty much a high note. Global uncertainties affect beef production. I'm okay with that, and it should decline until it halts. All right, see you in the next one. I'm going to turn my mouse bisexual for this. There we go.